Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Education. Is she satisfied that spending $359 million on the Investing in Educational Success initiative is the best way to lift student achievement?
Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, yes. Investing in educational success looks beyond the teacher in the classroom to strengthening all of the teachers in all of the schools over time. In my travels around the country, teachers tell me that they want opportunities to collaborate and learn from each other. Evidence locally and from around the world clearly shows that raising the quality of teaching and leadership is the best way within schools to raise student achievement. Of course, what works in one country can't just be transported in its entirety to another. That's why investing in educational success draws from the best features of several different education systems as well as our own. And the final design has been carried out in consultation with the New Zealand profession and critical contributions by very reputable New Zealand and international academics.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How will she ensure that removing expert teachers for 2 days a week from their own school and away from the students they've been so successful in teaching won't have an impact on the existing students' academic achievement?
Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, because the modern learning practice that is increasingly taking place in schools across the country is not the one that the member and I probably experienced, which was only one teacher to one group of students for the entirety of their school year. There's a lot more team teaching, as that other member may not know since he comes from the dinosaur era, but there is greater improvement in the way that teaching is occurring. And what we also know from the learning and change networks, which came from the sector themselves, is that they learn better when they learn from each other. Newer teachers learn better from more senior teachers. So the provision is to ensure that we get better teachers in every class, across every school, across our entire country.
Question, Mr Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary. Why is she satisfied that the money will lead to a lift in student achievement, given a recent survey of school principals found that 54% were opposed to the plan outright, 27% had concerns about the policy, and only 4% of them were actually supportive of it?
Mr Speaker,
Honourable Heke Parata.
I'm aware of that particular survey, but I'm also aware of the over 70 engagements that have been held with teacher groups, with principal groups, with parents across the country, many of whom want to understand what the proposal is and how it will work. And there is a lot of growing support for this. And can I just remind the member, the $359 million, only half of it is for salaries for these roles. The other half of it is for inquiry time, which the member himself has made speeches about the importance for. The other half of it is for backfill time, because we have about 30,000 qualified teachers. Now, I know fact confuses that member, but the other 10 million is for...
The answer's now long enough, but it's not helped by the constant interjection coming from one member to my left. Further supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why isn't the government's goal ensuring that all New Zealand school students are taught by expert teachers, given they're limiting the number of roles to just 1,000 across the country, or around 2% of the teaching workforce?
Mr Speaker,
Honourable Heke Parata.
That is our goal. That is indeed our goal, and our intention is that over time the expertise and leadership quality across the system will be consistently raised. Now, the member may know, because he will be intimately knowledgeable about this, is that in last year's NZEI collective bargaining, they bargained for 800 of these very teachers in order to lift the quality. This is significantly more. It's heading in the same direction. The member should be leading the charge.
Lead the charge. Come on.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Has she seen the comment from Principals Federation President Phil Harding?
Order. I'm going to ask the member to start that question again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Has she seen the comment from Principals Federation President Phil Harding, quote, "It's vital the government doesn't steamroll another flawed model over the top of a profession holding significant and legitimate concerns," end quote. If so, will she rule out legislating for the policy's implementation in the face of such strong opposition by the people who are expected to implement it?
Honourable Hiki Parata.
Mr Speaker, indeed I've seen a number of quotes by Mr Harding and many of them are contradictory. Mr Harding led the response to the introduction of this policy by congratulating and complimenting it. Sorry, what was the member's second part to the question? Oh, right, let me just say, we are continuing to work with the profession, and indeed the member may know that we have already entered bargaining with the PPTA. We have across the country a lot of interest in this policy, and so we propose to continue consulting.
Order. I call question number 9, Paul Foster-Bell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Sir